Hey there, welcome to Life at a Glance podcast. I am so excited to be talking to you today. Let's get into today's topic. I'm diving right into those meat and potatoes. It's going to be short, sweet, but impactful. And the topic is all around accountability. Now, hold on, I got a little story, and then we're going to tie everything up with a bow. Accountability really is the difference between setting a goal and actually achieving the goal. So, if you've heard, my son Thomas just went through, I would say, 6 months of training for one specific, very prestigious club at his school. Out of the junior class, at the very beginning, 60 started. There were mid cuts. I think there were like 28, 23 left. And then Friday night at 9:30, only 17 were standing. But here is where they take accountability up an extra notch. Because in that 6 months, there was a whole lot of physical preparation, both physically, so exercise, fitness, physical in equipment that they were using, shining brass. But then there was also a lot of preparation when it came to mental and just like the psychological, like when we prepare ourselves for a goal, when we write that goal down, when we say it out loud to our friends and our family, that's that quiet moments of follow through. Now, I know while he was in the heat of the last 2 weeks, especially that first week, there were probably moments of, I could just quit right now. His body was tired. His mind was tired, but it was the preparation of the goal. It was the accountability to not just his family, but to his friends that he had told at his school. And the mid-cuts came. And so again, 23, 28 kids. And something really interesting happened for that final week. They had assigned to them what they called a mirror. Talking about taking accountability to the next level. They would eat together. They would exercise together. Their uniforms would look the same. Their brass had to look the same. Their plumes had to look the same. Everything had to look, if they had tattoos, the tattoos had to be the same. They were literally mirrors of one another. That is what this precision drill team does. They hold themselves up to a standard that looking across, they are mirrors in height, mirrors in how short their hair is. They had to shave their arms because they had different hair color on their arms. It's accountability to get the job done. And in this case, that commitment to the goal, it was not almost out of his hands, as perfect as he could be. And he made it, and we've all celebrated. But one thing that accountability does do is it creates clarity. I know towards the end, the conversations that Thomas and I had, we didn't have that many because I know that he was busy with school. He was busy with his new rank. He was busy with preparation for the tryouts that would happen each and every day consistently for 2 weeks. He was exhausted at the end and had a whole bunch of things to do. So he would almost report what happened that day. And then the next morning, when we're talking about accountability and just that overwhelm that he was feeling, what is the 1% that you are going to focus on today? Because details mattered in this particular situation. And that 1% created clarity. It was the report back. It was holding yourself accountable to someone else. It forces you to get really, really clear on what exactly you are committing to. Because he was pretty clear each and every day in that 1%. It would be that he had so many ways when he got back to school on how he could shine brass. One of his 1% was committing to one. So he got really, really specific. There was so much that all they could do was focus just on one. So there was no vague goals. Accountability sharpens focus into measurable actions. Oh, let that sink in. I love it. Number 2, accountability builds consistency. So the accountability to his goal, I saw it happen over the summer, and it was really interesting to kind of watch. He did his internship, he did all of that. He would come home, and he had about a month home, and he got into a mode where he would get up, he would help me doing things around the house, and then he would shine his brass. His workout was anywhere between 2 to 3 hours a day. And then he would come home, he would hang out with Daniel and I, Jack, and then he would go back to shining his brass. That was his routine. That commitment to the goal created consistency. And I think that knowing someone is waiting on you makes it so much harder to procrastinate. This was a goal that Thomas had on his own. Like, we didn't say anything about it. We didn't even know about it. I didn't know the details of all of it until we really got into the thick of it. But there would have been no way to catch up had he procrastinated. I think he literally, and I know I've said in another video, he shined brass for about 200 hours because there were multiple sets of brass, and the brass had to be mirrors. That is how intense this training was. And accountability can also provide a course correction, because left to ourselves, we can justify, we can excuse, we can rationalize because we keep everything here. But to accountability, and I say this all the time, is let me tell you back, let me share back what I heard you say. And accountability is protecting your blind spot, so that we can think through, we can anticipate things that will happen. Accountability gives you feedback, perspective, and sometimes a loving push to adjust when you're drifting off track, because we all know entrepreneurs like to drift off track. A few months ago with my ads coach, I know for me personally, I was solely focused on one thing. Solely focused on one thing for months and months and months and months and months. Optimize, 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 rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And I would come to him during our coaching sessions and I would say, now, I'm going to give you some context, but I think I'm getting ready to sabotage myself. And so I just need you to read back to me or talk back to me what you're hearing. We will sabotage ourselves in a second, because sometimes it's easier to stay where we are than to challenge ourselves and push through the friction points that we have to ultimately a boring business routine. There is nothing more beautiful. There is nothing more satisfying than a boring business routine. It allows you to see where you have opportunities in the current stack of things that you offer, instead of sabotaging and leaving a trail of unfinished products. Because we get so caught up in the making and the doing, we're not making any money because we're so caught up in the thing, and we get to the end and we're not making any money with it. And then our family and our friends, how is your business going? Oh, that. And we feel shame and we feel overwhelmed. And so then we go back in our cave and we build the next thing. So I have recently had the opportunity to stand back and watch what accountability can do. Accountability first, just to speak your goal. Accountability next to friends and family. Game on, I have to go. And I've already invested so much, I can't stop. To accountability, what is the 1% that I can improve today? Because everything feels heavy. Everything feels so overwhelming. How am I going to get through it? Focusing on one thing. And if you know what I'm talking about, like I give you 3. I give you your daily 3. And sometimes people are like, can I do more? Yeah, you can do more, but don't. What's the 1% that you can focus on today? Now, at the end of today, today's podcast, I'm inviting you to the Plan With Me Live. This month's Plan With Me Live is super special because I am going to share something that will amplify accountability in your business. I'm not going to give you any more details because I want you to show up live. I want you to see and feel what that accountability feels like. I have accountability in my business. These are mentors that I have worked with kind of off and on for the past 5 or 6 years. And it's the accountability that I really think through the questions, the friction points that I'm having, because I want them just to give me some feedback, excuse me, and let me go implement and push further along. Accountability helps your progress skyrocket. It's not that you're doing more. Actually, the accountability holds you back to focus on one thing. All right. So I hope that you will join me at the Plan With Me Rhonda, Plan With Me Live. Click the link below this video. If you're listening to the podcast, you'll be able to click the link there and add it to your calendar. Until next time, take care. We'll talk soon.